NOC, it came across as if it's like one of the most like popular, successful channels in Singapore. And I think that when you look at the other ones in there, the other big players, at least the ones that I know of, you've got the Smart Local, and I think that had more subscribers. So did Wow Banana, and so did that Jen Hao Tan. So it's a bit weird how NOC still came across as such a powerhouse, yet it did. Interesting that. It must have been a case that NOC was just churning out the videos so much and so well. Their production's really, really good. It must have been just that really made them came across as a success, a real success. So yeah, NOC, Night Owl Cinematics, was a really successful Singaporean YouTube channel. Okay. And a lot happened which contributed to their downfall and their demise. There was one major incident involving one main character who we'll discuss in a moment. But yeah, NOC just collapsed into nothing. And now we have the debris left. How did I come across NOC? I mean, I'm some dude in England. What interest must I have in Singaporean YouTube, and how did I come across it and watch it? What was happening was I was going to Singapore. I've been lucky enough to go there a couple of times now, and I've got to say I love Singapore. Singapore is amazing. There is a new channel now, which for me has taken over NOC, and that is Wow Banana. Wow Banana, I love their team. I love what they do. I love how chilled out they are. Everything comes across as genuine, and they seem to really enjoy each other's company as well as the work. And that's what a real team is. And so Wow Banana, if ever I'm in Singapore, if I could just be in one Killer Game episode, please put me in it. Can you make a channel just for Killer Game? Could you guys do that? Just a Killer Game channel where you're constantly making episodes of Killer Game. That'd be great. Just do it. Because we just wait all year round for Killer Game, and then what's been happening? I feel like it's not turned up in more than a year now. So, Wow Banana, can you please explain yourselves and invite me over? All expenses paid. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. So I was going to Singapore, and before I was going, I was thinking to myself, let me have a look at some Singaporean YouTube. Let's see what the vibe is like out there. So let's see what's going on. So I did that. Had a look at some Singaporean YouTube, and the channel Night Owl Cinematics absolutely shone through. They were blinding. The production, brilliant. The vibe, fantastic. Just the editing and everything else, really, really well put together. The characters, outstanding. And let's go through those now. Aiken, who in the end turned out to be a bit of a lapdog. No disrespect, no hate to Aiken and stuff. I'm pretty sure he admits it himself. He was caught in the middle, and you've got to do what you've got to do when it comes to paying those bills sometimes. Next, we've got Dikosh. Dikosh was a massive personality. Is he still? Well, he's been through a lot, so maybe not so much anymore. He was also a popular radio personality as well. So that in itself was quite an achievement. I'm sure he was rubbing shoulders with quite a few celebrities in his own professional work. And that, for me, came across in his work at NOC, because Dikosh was very cocky and confident, and not really in a bad way. I mean, maybe things that he did, maybe that demeanour developed into the hubris which led to the actions that got him imprisoned. But yeah, he was cocky and loud, and it wasn't really a bad thing. I don't think it was just a personality. But the magic of that was he really appeared as if he did not care about NOC. He did not need NOC because he had radio to fall back on. And that, for me, was quite refreshing, because if you're at NOC, you need to not need it. You need to not care about it, because if you need it, if you care about it, you're kind of in trouble. We'll go into that as long as I don't forget. Next, we've got Sylvia, Queen of NOC, and basically the main player in what happened here. It's big deal, all right? Big deal. She is literally the queen on the chessboard when it comes to this, and this is where it all happened. Then we have Ryan, who is the husband. Okay, so it's Sylvia and Ryan who are running this show. Okay, quite literally. Ryan is trying to run the show, and he's actively making efforts to do so, but unfortunately sometimes doing that is just not natural. And as much as we resist our natural calling, sometimes you've just got to go for your calling, and his isn't really on screen in my opinion. Although he can keep resisting. Maybe one day things will change. So let's get moving straight on. What happened? What happened? Well, in fact, no. We'll get there. While I was watching NOC, over time, just naturally, before any of this beef, and I'm sure I'm not the only one here, I started to hate Sylvia. I started to proper hate Sylvia. Like, she would really, really get on my nerves. So what happened? Why did Sylvia start to really get on my nerves? Okay. What I could see is whenever she would appear on screen, she would have to be this weird, extremely cocky, princessy personality. So they would do a lot of these productions which were set back in the olden days. Okay. And when they would do that, she would always be some kind of princess or queen. And she would walk around being really cocky. And you could see that, like, this is actually her personality in real life. You could proper see it. Then, even when they're not doing those productions, right, where they're just having like a random interview, she would still be that personality, like this really cocky boss who everyone has got to suck up to instantly. You could see it. You could see the fear in people's eyes and faces. And it wasn't just like acting, like they were actually scared of her. And I could see that. And I was like, I don't like seeing that. That looks too real. That's just like, what is going on? It looks weird and toxic and all the rest of it. They did a show called Knockout. This was close to the end of NOC. Close to like literally the end of it. And there was part of it where they make it was basically like, what was it like? It was like a weird talent show where instead of having loads of people just doing the talent show, it was like a group and they were all competing. Kind of a good idea for a show, but not with NOC doing it. Way too toxic. So there they were, they're doing it. And there was an episode where they had to choose between themselves who's going to get kicked out. Now, this group of people had really bonded. And then to make them choose who they're going to kick out was like excruciating. They were all crying. They were all like looking around at each other. They cried for ages in that episode. And then, yeah, they went for it and they fired somebody. But I think he still stayed around. Like, somehow he was still there in the background. Weird. And there was this woman, Samantha, I'm pretty sure that's what her name was. And at one point, they had to get like a makeover done. And it was weird, like, she had long hair. And I'm pretty sure they forced her to cut it short. Later on, it came out that Sylvia had a real problem with Samantha. A real issue. I think part of that haircut was part of the issue. That was like, I don't like her, I hate her, cut her hair short, make her do it. I think it was like that. It was a bit weird like that. And like they tried to force her out of the show. I'm pretty sure that happened. But yeah, like that was like a real part of Sylvia's disgusting personality coming out. And I'm not even going to talk about her, like, was it her Twitter handle or Instagram or something? Xiao something, which is little swear word. Like, it makes sense, I get it. So, what happened? How did it all fall apart? Apart from Sylvia being toxic to her staff, allegedly, all of this stuff in this video is alleged, by the way. Let me just say that just in case, you never know. Everything's alleged. I don't know if any of this is true. This could all be a story of fiction. So, after Sylvia was like just being too much of a princess with like everybody, things came to a boiling point when this, I think it was pretty much this, was it a Twitter or an Instagram? I'm going to say it was an Instagram account. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. It came out and it started like proper dropping bombs about NOC. It was some kind of SG chicken fried rice or something account. And it starts proper dropping bombs about what's happening on the inside of NOC. Like, apparently she's not paying people. Apparently there was this beef between these two people. Then there's text messages getting leaked out and stuff. There was oh god, this was amazing. There was a video meeting that got leaked out. So a meeting where Sylvia is like forcing people to do things, right? And they're against it. Throughout the meeting, Ryan her husband is arguing with her as well. She's sitting there smoking a cigarette and they're having like a full-blown argument, and she's forcing staff to do things and the staff are like rejecting it. And I'm pretty sure there was something that went around about the staff not getting paid either. Like, a lot of the staff weren't getting paid. I'm sure like probably even higher level. Partway through this journey though, like before NOC all came to an end, the husband became the ex-husband because they got divorced. And even that was complicated. Like, that had like its own rules and issues, and there were time limits because she's from Malaysia. So there was benefits to her keeping hold of her like relationship with Ryan. So there was that. There was also things like she would get her family involved in the show. Like, she had two cousins, a male and a female, and or one was a close friend. But basically she had like, it appeared to have like relatives in, and I think she would even use them for like labour or something. But she was using funds from the show and funneling them to her family somehow, whether that was like her own accommodation, whether it was purchasing certain things. Stuff like that happened. I'm a bit rusty on the details because it's a while since it's happened, but things really started falling apart. Maddest thing for me is like not paying your staff, but more so treatment of staff, screaming at staff, you know, scolding, which is a thing like in Singapore. Scolding, guys, scolding. Yes, people get told off over here, okay, but scolding, I think it happens maybe in some professions and stuff, but it's not really a thing over here, not really. But I suppose over here the pressures can be big enough for it to not warrant a scolding. But I think that pressures over there are just as big, especially if you're going to get publicly scolded. There was a guy who now works for Jin Hao Tan, and he's on Jin Hao's podcast. And at one point they had Sylvia on. I think you should watch that one. It's either Sylvia's or Ryan's, but I'm pretty sure it's Sylvia's. So Sylvia is in the room, Jin Hao Tan's in the room, and the ex-NOC employee is in the room. And they're talking and stuff, and this guy who used to work for NOC, you can tell he wouldn't hurt a fly. He wouldn't. He just comes across so gentle, so nice, so professional, really. He would do well in a lot of professions. A real gentle person. And I think that's what Jin Hao Tan has seen in him, and that's why he's in Jin Hao's podcast, or at least was. It's been a while since I've seen it. Now, they had the episode with Sylvia. Sylvia comes on, and you can see she asserts her like crazy dominance straight away. You can see it. She behaves like that guy still works for her. But it's like, no, I don't work for you anymore. You have no authority over me anymore at all, in the slightest. Get to know that. I would have loved for Jin Hao Tan actually to have helped out and rubbed Sylvia's face in that a little bit more. Like, get to know this guy don't work for you. At one point in the conversation, they discussed how he used to work for Sylvia, and how at one point she scolded him so bad that it left him in tears. Grown man in public as part of production staff, reduced to tears. And then he's there and he's talking about it in the podcast, and he's still putting a positive light on it. Can you imagine the trauma? He comes out and he says, it was good that you did that. I mean, hey, that's his thing, and maybe it was then. But he's like, it was good that you did that because it made me blah, 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 blah. In my opinion, they're all BS reasons. I'm not going to lie. But that's Sylvia. Sylvia, extremely strong character. Scary. Suppose maybe these strengths benefit her somehow, somewhere. Something else about her which you might find interesting is they had remodeled or got a new office. Okay. They did that a few times. Their office was expensive. I mean, property in itself is very expensive in Singapore, but their office was beautiful. It had a lot of different areas to it, and it served a lot of different purposes. It did really well. But in her office, there was a cubicle built in the middle. All right. Now, this cubicle on the outside, it looks like a false brick wall. So it looks aesthetically correct for like a modern office building. It's a false brick wall, and it's got things on it. And if you were a guest or a visitor to that office, you wouldn't think anything other than, okay, it's a brick wall there. All right. But actually, one of the brick walls opens up and you can go inside. And so inside now, you're in your own little office. But you could still hear everything from the outside of the office. So anything that's happening outside of where you're sitting, you can hear all of that. It's like being in the office but invisible. Which is mad. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine working in a place where you've got a crazy toxic boss? That light's gone off, hasn't it? Who cares? That light is annoying. Can you imagine working in a place where you've got a crazy toxic boss, right? And then on top of that, you just don't know if they're in the office or not. You've got no idea. They could be here, they might not be here, you just don't know. And I'm going to let you know, like, the level of toxicity, allegedly, guys. They do a lot of pranks, and a lot of these pranks are not very nice. Like, they're actually scary. And one of these pranks was where one of the staff had to act like they had been told off. No. Something like they had to act like they had been... So a staff member arrives into the office, and then the other staff members act like, you're late. We were supposed to be here ages ago. What are you doing? You're going to get in trouble. And then he's like, oh my God, what? Like, what? Is she angry? Is she like fiery? Is she really angry? And then the conversation, like, some of them are acting, of course, but they're like, yeah, she is. Yeah, today's a bad day. Today she really is. And so it just tells you that she's often fiery and scary and stuff. And I actually think, I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong here, but I think she actually scolded him as part of the prank. Like, yeah, hilarious. So, yeah, Sylvia allegedly was very scary, and it kind of came across on the videos, if you ask me, in my opinion. So this Twitter or this Instagram account starts dropping bombshells, right? And basically, the channel did not recover from that. The channel just went from bad to worse from that point on. A lot of staff left. They were like, I can't continue with this anymore, blah, blah, blah. A lot of other channels were kind of like, I think they were condemning getting involved. But yeah, people really parted ways. Yeah, I don't know if the Dcosh thing happened first or not. Can't remember. I think it didn't. I think Dcosh happened after. The guy who was caught in the middle was Aiken. Aiken was like the son. You could say the son of Aiken and Sylvia. No, the son of Ryan and Sylvia. Alright, that's who Aiken was. He was kind of caught in the middle. He was, you could call him like high level management, where Sylvia and Ryan are the owners. Okay. And so he was silent for basically all of it. And even now, the things that he said are basically neutral and weird. And what I also find strange is the things that Ryan still says nowadays. He's still very complimenting of Sylvia. Even though, I'm sure everything basically got robbed from him. She left with everything. And it came down to the fact that she was very business savvy. He was very technical. He could produce to a high level. So the production was all down to him. But getting the deals, talking to clients, and that side of things was down to her. And as a result, she took it because she's like, financial person, you wouldn't have these deals and things if it wasn't for me. So she got basically everything. It became hers. It went from theirs to hers, which is mental. Especially when all the staff preferred him. So as much staff as possible left with him. Some staff stayed with her. And she had like another Chinese channel or something. And so they kind of like hid and went into that because that was kind of on the sidelines. So it wasn't common knowledge that that is NOC money in this Chinese channel. Whereas NOC was, of course, out and out NOC money. You know what I mean? I think they tried to rebrand Food King to make it their own. They tried that for a little while. Things didn't really work. They lost a lot of subscribers. They had just hit 1 million and then they dropped down to like 800,000, maybe 700,000 or something. Pretty quick. Never recovered. Ryan eventually, of course, went off to make his own channel, Overkill Singapore, which I think needs to be renamed again, to be honest. I don't think the words kill and Singapore or just kill should be in a channel name, in my opinion. So yeah, maybe redo that again. Team is looking good and stuff. One thing about these channels though, it's as if the owner or something needs to be the main character in this. Unless they have a really good work ethic like Wild Banana has. They've got a beautiful team. But yeah, if not, then the owner has to be the main character. Not only have they got to hold all the power, but they've got to be on screen a lot. And that's because if they manage to get some other staff member to be on screen a lot, that staff member can disappear and make their own channel. And if they make their own channel, then everyone's just going to follow them. That's the talent issue. That's the talent balance that's out there at the moment. And that explains why Ryan is on screen so much at Overkill. Not that I really even watch Overkill much at all. Since things fell to pieces, I watch a little bit of Wild Banana and that's it. So yeah, with Sylvia, things came out over an Instagram account which was just revealing everything. And then she went on to an interview podcast with this woman. I've forgotten her name. Do you know her name? That woman who she went on the interview with. Shui. Juju, Shui. Shui. Juju, innit? It is.
That's how you pronounce it. Something like that. Shashwe.
Okay. She went on this interview with Shashwe. Oh, God. This ain't going to be good, is it?
It's Mandarin, isn't it? You don't speak Mandarin.
She went on this interview with Shashwe. Okay. She went on this interview, and forgive me in advance, guys. I don't speak Mandarin. I'm going to butcher this name. Enjoy this. She went on this interview with Shashwe, and she tried to, like, recover what bits of her, like, I don't know, personality, what bits of her professionalism or of her career was left. And yeah, I don't think it really looked too good, to be honest with you. Dikosh has done the same thing since he's come out of prison, but you know, yeah, didn't really work. I might rewatch that actually, just for a bit of fun. Now, I think let's let Sylvia rest a little bit. Guys, do you know what Sylvia's doing nowadays? Someone tell me. Put it in the comments. I'm sure she went for some weird, like, self-help channel. Something strange, anyway. Anyway, next. Just quickly, we'll get Ryan out of the way. So Ryan's made a new channel. It's got about 100,000 subs, maybe 200,000. I don't know. Not very many in his terms. Really, he should have about 1 million. Ryan is a good guy with a good heart, in my opinion, okay? He's a good guy, okay? He's awkward on camera, but that's just human beings. Maybe that makes him even more lovable, okay? Ryan's a good guy with a good heart, all right? Sylvia was very jealous of him, thinking that he's going with pretty girls and stuff. I think he would make friends with pretty girls and spend a lot of time with them and stuff. That's probably why, or that is why, Sylvia hated Samantha and cut her hair off in that Knockout talent show, because apparently she looked like the pretty girls who he spends time with. So he hated her. So Sylvia hated Samantha straight away. Prejudice. Anyway, Ryan's got his own channel. He almost created another Sylvia on his new channel. It was some kind of like assistant girl who was very loud. So it became like another Ryan and Sylvia, because she was really loud and appeared to be kind of cocky, and he was still timid guy in the background, but they're sharing the same screen, so that was weird. And yeah, he's just trying to make some success of this channel, and steadily and surely he will, because he's doing some interesting things. He's getting involved with like household brands, like, you know, like furniture, anything that's related to houses, so fridges and water machines or whatever else they have in Singapore. Interesting drying racks that fall from the ceiling and stuff like that. So that's going to be very lucrative, of course, for him. So it's very, very smart what he's done there, and it seems like he's got a genuine interest in architecture and in interior design. So that's only going to help. I find that interesting myself. So that's actually really watchable. But he's just got to stop saying pièce de résistance. So Ryan, if you're watching, just don't say it again, please. Yes, so that's Ryan. Okay, he tried to save his team, tried to save his people, but he couldn't stop the sinking ship, which was NOC. Next, another bombshell, and one who appeared to be very similar in a way to Sylvia, Dikosh. So Dikosh, cocky, powerful, both Sylvia, loud, Sylvia again. And yeah, he could be quite tough on people, or at least that's how it appeared on screen. However, it's more forgivable with Dikosh because he was funny and kind of lovable and wasn't as aggressive or hurtful, although he didn't stop any of it from what I saw. Now, Dikosh had some legal trials and tribulations where apparently he had like groomed people, and I don't mean combing their hair. He had done something where he was like paying people who turned out to be younger than legally allowed. He was paying them to do things of an adult nature or requesting them. And he was also offering them like employment. Everything in this video is alleged and could all be false. I'm just going to say that one more time. So yeah, apparently that happened. And Dikosh has since served his jail time and he's now back out and trying to get himself back in the public eye. And I think he's struggling. My opinion on that, I think people make mistakes, you know what I mean? But if he knew that these people were underage, then yeah, that's pretty messed up, okay? If you knew that they were underage, then that is pretty serious. I don't know if you can come back from that. It might be time to just get a regular job. Just get a regular job. I'm sure you'll do fine. You'll find something. Maybe voice actor work or something like that. So that's him. Yeah, I don't want to go too deep into what happened there. Aiken, the one who's left. Yeah? Alright, Aiken. So what's the deal with Aiken? Aiken, he had a massive launch of his own channel. And it looked promising. I liked the launch. It was weird. It was eccentric and kooky. But I've not seen much from him at all. I think he's made the odd travel video and then appeared on a couple of podcasts and then see you later. So I don't know what the crack is with Aiken. Not that I've been searching for him as of late or anything, but nothing. Anybody got any updates on Aiken? Chuck them in the comments. But people were waiting for a long time for Aiken to come out and say something. It was interesting at the time when NOC was crumbling, the amount of people who were showing support to Ryan and not Sylvia. That was really interesting. A lot of staff were coming out and saying good things about Ryan. It just made it appear that Sylvia had really pushed people out of the company, apparently, and may well have really caused issues. I mean, how was it visible to me as a spectator so far away, so unattached to Singaporean culture? How is it still so visible to me that she's being toxic and being really toxic? Just unnecessary, you know? It was crazy. I think there was more that I wanted to say, but maybe I'll put it in the comments. It was really unfortunate that NOC fell to pieces. They could have carried on doing great things, and I'm sure they would have, but it looks like it had to fall apart because things were way too toxic, and it's not right for things to continue like that. It's not right for the staff, you know, and that's the main thing. That's really important. You know, your people are very important. So yeah, it is a shame that it fell apart. I just wish that they could have taken something from Wa Banana and worked like they did. But it appears to me that like they really had to tread on, walk on, stamp on their staff and really show them their place. It probably made some people feel really important doing that. What else is interesting is I'm sure I saw something like they had to work on stuff like pretty much 24/7. So they would do days that were like 20-hour days. And like they would like hardly sleep and come back the next day and do it again. So you would like film throughout the day and edit throughout the night. Stuff like that. You know, like proper toxic ways of working. Yeah, so you'd have to do that. So imagine this. You film throughout the day, you edit throughout the night, but for the next day you have to have had a full new idea ready to go. And you might get 24 hours, 40 hours notice that you've got to make something new while you're actually mid-production of something else. So it was like that. It was crazy hard work, apparently. So they were making a lot of money out of people, and the people who they were making money out of had second jobs. So they weren't even getting paid much, or maybe not even at all in some cases. They were waiting for money. Wild, isn't it? Proper mad. But yeah, anyway, I might revisit, if I do revisit some of the stuff on NOC, maybe I'll make another video on it, just because I do find it really interesting. One, interesting, and two, a massive tragedy. But yeah, anyway guys, thanks for watching this huge, might as well call it a podcast, on the downfall of NOC and some of what happened. It was a while ago, so I've not got all the details. Stick stuff in the comments, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching again. See you later.